G'day, welcome back. Well, today is just a real easy one, but it's a question that I get asked a lot. It's how do I cook the perfect steak? So I've got this one asked to me a few times through social media, so I thought we'd do that here today. So what I've got here is a beautiful 200 gram grass-fed strip loin, sirloin steak. So that's the one you'd probably get most often get if you were to purchase it through your butcher shop or your local supermarket, and we're going to cook it here today. So most importantly, first thing to do is to take your steak out and let it come to room temperature. So if you put a cold steak on a barbecue, it's going to stew, and that's not what we want. We want a nice hot barbecue plate, and we want a nice steak that's rested well so it's ready to go. First thing, other people oil the plate. We're not going to oil the plate today. We're actually going to oil the steak and season the steak first, then put it on the plate. So there's a way and there's a debate, you know, some do the Heston method, and I'll talk a bit about that later, but this is the most popular way that I find gets good results. So oil a little bit. I like to use vegetable because I find olive oil overpowers the steak, and we don't want to do that. We want to try the meat. A bit of sea salt, do the old Salt Bay style here. Right, that'll give us a nice crust, and then we'll turn that steak around. Same thing, drizzle of oil, vegetable oil is fine. Make sure you rub that into your steak. Salt again. Right, just all over our beautiful sirloin steak, porterhouse, New York cut, whatever you like to call it. Pepper, I'm not going to put on pepper yet. Next thing is to get your barbecue nice and hot. There's nothing worse than putting a steak on a cold barbecue that just stews. So hot is the key. So I've got my lovely beef eater 6 burner here going in the Burke manner. And what we'll do, that steak's been rested, it's been seasoned now with with oil and salt. And we'll put that straight on to cook on our grill. Now the important thing to do while you're waiting for your steak is to open up your fridge here, right? Grab a beer, cheers, and relax. Don't stress too much. Then I need that. Now, the ideal way not to stuff a steak up is to get a meat thermometer. And our degrees of doneness are on our beef and lamb website, who I'm employed by, Meat and Livestock Australia. So I might even put this down to get a bit more smokiness going, get the heat going, because that's running off natural gas. It doesn't provide a real strong heat in the beef eater. So people go the Maillard effect. So the Heston effect is where they get the barbecue hot, and this works as well. I have tried it in the past. And then as soon as the juices run to the top, you flip it, and then you flip it again, and you flip it again, and you flip it again, and you flip it again. So you've got those juices going up, down, up, down, up, down. But that works on some steaks, but the safest way is just to do it this way. Don't muck around with the meat too much. Pick up your beautiful steak. You've got a nice sizzle there going. And you want to make sure you've got a nice hot barbecue, and the smell that's coming from this is amazing. Now people ask, how do you get those square marks on your steak? Simple, turn it around halfway through the cooking process. And then you get the griddle marks on both ends. Criss-cross. We've got a great app at the moment that's on Google Play and also on the iTunes channel called Steak Mate. And this app is a little cracker. First of all, you put your steak, then you put your thickness, and then you can actually put a name to the steak. So it could be Reg's steak and he could like it well done. And it actually tells you and buzzes and guides you through the cooking process to cook the exact best steak. And you can have about 6-7 steaks and your phone's just going off and you can pretend you're Facebooking, but really you're cooking the ideal steak. So we'll make sure we get these griddle marks now. That's nice and hot. We'll give that a turn. I could do a bit longer. And just be patient. Oh yes. So turn that steak around. I'll probably pop the lid down now and I'll wait another 2 to 3 minutes. So we've pulled that steak off and we've laid it here. Now it's important, once you do your steak, to rest it. So what I do is I get a bit of foil and I lightly put it around. And that's it. People that wrap the foil around create an oven, create a vacuum, an oven, and it still cooks whilst you got that aluminium foil wrapped around that steak. We don't want that. We just want it to remain warm and rest. So what happens is all those juices come to the center of the steak when you're cooking it. And if you eat that steak straight away, you're going to get all those meat juices running through your plate. You need to rest your steak, and all those juices will redistribute to the end of the steak and provide a beautiful, juicy eating experience. So, a good rule of thumb, rest your steak for about half the amount of cook time that you've cooked it. Okay? Important. If there's anything I want you to learn today, it's take your steak out and rest it to room temperature prior to cooking, and rest it at the end with prior to eating. They're the most important things that I want you to take away in relation to cooking the perfect steak for your family and friends. So we've just got a beautiful strip line there. We'll just let it rest a little bit longer. Have another sip. And that's it. Time to slice. And look at that. That is just perfect. It's just perfectly cooked on the side there. Just allowing that to rest. And when you've got the best product in the world from beef producers, it just makes it easy. And check that out. That is amazing. Right. That steak has just been rested and cooked to perfection. And that's what it's about. You didn't see me muck around with it. I just wanted to check if it had a good char grill. It's rested now, and the degree of doneness on that is amazing. Now I hit it with my pepper. And probably a little bit more salt. Because what happens if you put the pepper on your steak on the grill, it burns. The pepper burns, and I don't want it to burn. I want it to season my steak. So that's rested now beautifully. Bit of grass-fed strip loin there, sirloin. Melt in your mouth. Melt in your mouth. Emily! Emily! Come down and try this beautiful steak. My daughters love steak. So, that's a wrap. Before I finish, remember the following things. Take your steak out. Let it rest to room temperature. Get your barbecue nice and hot. Really, really hot. Season your steak. Oil it, not with olive oil, just with a standard vegetable oil. Put your steak on. Some people like to reduce the heat of their barbecue, but that's depending on how hot it is. Okay, so reduce it to medium when you put the steak on. If you want your griddle marks crisscross, halfway through the steak cooking process, move the steak the other way, horizontally and vertically. That will give you your cross marks. After 2.5 to 3 minutes for a 200 gram piece, flip it over. I put the hood down just to trap the bit of heat, but you can just leave it there and have another swag of your beer. Take the steak off, put it on your board, rest it, or you can season it with pepper then if you like. Aluminium foil over, not trapped around, just loosely covered. Rest it and just enjoy. Great Australian beef doesn't need tomato sauce. It doesn't need barbecue. You know that? Look at that. The producers have done the work for you. They've given you a beautiful piece of Australian meat. You don't need to do nothing to it but add salt and pepper, my friends. So enjoy true Aussie Australian beef. That's it. Thank you. See you next time.